So it's Friday the 16th of August 2024 and I'm coming at you with a Friday Filmette. And I'm really happy to say it's 1:45 and I've spent 4.5 whole days, well obviously not the half day, 4.5 days on creating and prepping the International Festival of Glass at Riverside House, and I finished prepping all 6 panels for the youngsters to continue at bank holiday weekend. So let's give you a little bit of a detail-esqueness. So what I decided to do was glue down all the main elements so that the youngsters can glue in all these deliciousness, including tiles and beads. So, as we've only got 2 days to work on, and when I say 2 days, I mean 4 hours each day, I wanted to make sure that we could do the majority of infilling on these days. So that's the way it's kind of developed, really. So each element, each mosaic is a representation of Stourbridge, as well as what Riverside House really symbolises as a beautiful setting for folks to come along and do all sorts of different things, like craft, like making food, or creating well, not making food, planting veg. They've got some lovely raised beds there, so that's land and food. Well-being is an important part of it as well. So what else have I got to say? Yeah, ecology, very much about sustainability, heritage, because Stourbridge is very much an important part of the Industrial Revolution, really. It all happened there in the West Midlands. So this is actually the Stourbridge Lion, an amazing, intricate, just quite an amazing steam engine, really. And then we've got here the arts as well, so lots of creativity happening there. So going back to showing you all the bits and gubbins and pieces, what I've done is I've glued in with Rumar FlexiFix the fixings, and the fixings are basically these little spiky things, so that when these are screwed onto the walls, they won't pull from the weight of the mosaic. And they've got a little bit of a grip to them. So I've glued them in, as well as, actually hammered them in as well, so that they're absolutely flat against the surface of the board. And with the craft, I did have glass lengths here, but as a pal of mine suggested, you can't really see them. So these are quite dark, but it's a dark green, and as we know, green is very difficult to photograph. But I've used some lovely glass tiles as well, which I've cut up. And I'm really pleased with this one, the well-being one. I had some lovely big tiles, which I've had in my shed of requirement for the longest time, and they cut beautifully. To say it's like a 2-foot by 8-inch wide tile, using my trusty Ruby heavy duty tile cutter, it worked like a dream. I did have some slate effect tiles which I wanted to use on this, because it had a little bit of a rusty sort of element to them, but they were ever so hard to cut, even with the heavy duty tile cutter. So I'm really pleased with that. I've got all sorts of gorgeousness here, like these ready-mades. Now, I just cut up a piece that was on mesh, and then used tile adhesive, the Bell Max Flex Fibre tile adhesive, to stick them in. Now, I am considering what kind of adhesives the children will be using, whether they'll have an external grade glue, 502 glue, or whether to use tile adhesive. Well, the tile adhesive has got a 5-hour pot life, so I can easily mix a big batch and then divide it up for the kids to use. That would be easy as. And I'm sure they could cope with that. The glue would work as well, but I want to test it out here and see if it works well. It's all very well it gluing on the day, but it might come off in the winter months, so you've got to be mindful of that. And this one's going to need most work from the youngsters. I've cut up all sorts of different elements here with, like a shaded version of a pear, shaded area of a pear, and 2 different kinds of greens, like a limey green. So I'm going to give them quite a bit of the decision making on that one. That's going to be the first mosaic we do, and see if we can do that in 2 hours. If not, we'll just crack on with the others. And like I say, with the majority, it's going to be infilling the background. So with this one particularly, I've got a red background and a black floor. Now, the Black Country, because of its industrial past, there was a phrase known that they were black by day, red by night. So that's why I've got that kind of nod there with the colours. And I'm really pleased with how this has worked out. In fact, I would suggest that this is one of my favourite ones, considering that it was my least favourite when I when I had to work on it in the first place. It is known as the Stourbridge Lion, and on the front of the actual steam engine, it did have a lion's head. So I thought it'd be a really good idea to have this coloration from the Kilncraft Bacchus, 1970s crockery, to give it that indication. So I'm quite pleased with that. And I'm really pleased that with the well-being tiles, the same tile had a compass type thing, and I had 3 of these tiles, and they work perfectly as wheels, steam engine wheels. So I'm really pleased with that. The same with this tile here. It's a chevron-esque type of tile, and it works really well as paintbrushes, the metal bit of the paintbrushes. So I'm right chuffed with that, and obviously with this shaped tile as well. This is why I like using pattern tiles, so that it gives me some inspiration of using different kinds of ways, instead of just using a flat colour, just a different way of using my imagination, really. So there we go. Oh, and the other thing about this one is that it's got a lovely iridescent gold gorgeousness. Anyway, that's me wittering on 9 minutes. I know you're only going to watch 2 minutes of it, but it's Caroline Cherrywalla, Mango Mosaics, over and out. See you soon. Bye.